So let's talk behavior chain analysis. As you can see in this illustration, behavior chain analysis is this really kind of get into the nitty gritty, chasing this chain of events from before the event happens, before the self-harm happens, all the way through the consequences afterwards, all the way through the afterwards. So we're getting into the nitty gritty about a couple of important pieces. There's a worksheet that you'll find in this module, as well as some case examples that I want you to use this with. Okay, you can use this in session with clients. So first thing we're going to assess are our vulnerabilities. So way before this happened, maybe a few days or even a week before this happened, what was going on that might have set me up to not be in that great of a headspace? Am I fighting a cold or just recovered from a sickness, right? Is my partner, who's a big part of my support system, traveling or out of town? Have I just gone through a breakup a few weeks ago? What happened days or weeks beforehand that might have gently started this snowball of I'm not feeling too good. I'm starting to spiral out of control a little bit. That leads us all the way up to right before the prompting event, right? So an hour or two before. What triggered this? What was happening? Where were you physically? What was going on around you? Who were you talking to? What were you doing with your body? What did you hear, see, smell, taste, touch? Go through that senses framework again. Get into the nitty gritty of what happened right before, boom, this big emotion showed up and you engaged in this behavior as a way to cope. Something was happening there and we need to figure out what it is. Then we have the event itself, this big piece of the pie here. We're going to break that down into pieces. So physically, what were you feeling in your body? That's going to give you, the clinician, some clues as to what we're dealing with this client. Are we in a state of hyperarousal or hypoarousal? Are we dissociating? Are we self-punishing? What's happening in our bodies are a clue to what we're feeling. But we want to try and get our clients to name that more specifically. What was the surface emotion, the big obvious thing that was happening? What was the underlying emotion? Maybe some of those more subtle pieces, right? I was really, really angry. That's why I engaged in that behavior. Well, I was angry, but I was also sad because I just had this conflict with a friend. I'm worried they're going to leave me. So I guess I'm a little anxious as well. Really parsing it out into really fine pieces with these emotions going on. And lastly, cognition, self-talk.